I'm a felon now, man. Ain't nobody gonna hire me. That dream that was passed down to the majority of the kids in our generation, go to school, stay out of trouble, get a good job, that's not gonna happen. That's dead. How can I win from here?
You have your story is, unfortunately, is it super unique because a lot of brothers have been through that system, but your perseverance and your resilience, your bounce back is somewhat unique from a lot of the other stories.
Yeah.
So to get from there to here, you had to have a mentality that was a little bit different from a lot of people.
I would say when it comes to the perseverance, how I've been able to bounce back, a win, and kind of adapt, it goes back to the day that we went in, the day that we got sentenced. I got sentenced on my grandma's birthday. You know what I'm saying? January 27, 2004. It's my grandmama's birthday. And what I remember so vividly was, of course, this was 2004, so social media was not what it is today. Yeah. But I remember the cameras been in the courtroom, you know what I mean? Filming my fall from grace, so to speak. Right. And I just had this feeling inside me where I could not let them see me break. It wasn't time to cry, it was time to win. It was time to survive. I didn't know what I was going into, literally been thrown into the lion's den, if you will. Going from a college campus to prison, you follow me? It's safe to say the pendulum was swinging from one extreme to the other. I knew I couldn't let people see me break because they had it, filmed on camera. Right. And I also knew that it wasn't time to point fingers and blame anybody else. I had to own it. I was 19 years old and it was time to man up. And they was sending me away in front of my mama. I had disappointed them. They was crying, they was hurting. And I had to find a way to make it up to them. I didn't know how I was gonna do it then, but I went into that trouble knowing that I had to bounce back. I utilized and developed my skills, my passion for fitness, because that what really helped me every single day, getting in there grinding, push-ups, man, using whatever we had at the time in the county jail. There was no, real rec yard or anything like that, no weights, you know what I mean? Literally putting water in bags, getting my curls on, keeping my mind right, keeping my physique tight, ready for whatever, not looking for any trouble, but definitely ready for whatever was gonna come your way. You follow me? Right. And then once I settled in the county jail, this older dude, for whatever reason, he just took to me. And I will always remember this. He asked me, how do you view this? Do you see this as a womb or you see this, as a tomb, this situation? And, I thought about it for a second. I was kind of like, what are you talking about? And then I just said, I see it as a womb. Then he was like, you're going to be all right, young brother. Go on down the road, do what you need to do. And when you come back, you're going to be all right. You're going to get your life together. Because he helped me understand that this wasn't the end, but this is literally the next level, a rebirth. Yep.
You cannot confuse your latest defeat with your final defeat.
Man,
or
I like
your
that one.
Greatest defeat with your final defeat.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't over for you just because it's as bad as it's ever been. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There is something on the other side. You just got to keep pushing.
Absolutely.
That boils down to a mindset. So what were some of the practical things that you did that you could share with our audience that can maybe help them develop that same type of mentality and mindset, so regardless of whatever they're going through, they can take something from this and apply it to their own lives?
What we used to do is you wake up at 5:15 every day, Monday through Friday. So being on the schedule is one, but they used to wake us up at 5:15 every day, Monday through Friday. We'll go to chow. When you come back from chow, you can, you got to get up, make your bunk or whatever, get dressed. Sometimes you'll have inspection, like super early, depending on who your dorm officer was. What I started doing though, is I got in my word, like real heavy. One of my favorite books all time is the book of Proverbs. Somewhere along the line, somebody told me that and Proverbs is a book of wisdom in the Bible. There's one proverb for every day. So it's typically 31 days in a month. Right. And there are 31 proverbs. So that's really how I started, getting into the Bible. Is I used to get up, You know, couldn't go back to sleep for real most days. Read my Bible. Then I started reading different books about, self-help, self-improvement, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I was familiar with that book because, I was in college at that time, and that was actually a course that we had to take. And, a lot of books circulate, throughout the prison system. So I was able to get my hands on some good stuff instead of just reading magazine and just stuff that, wasn't really fruitful and entertaining myself. I, just tried to build my mind. I knew I wanted to get out and bounce back. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I knew that just entertaining myself and just passing the time wasn't going to be it. Before you went to go to your job assignment or whatever, at the youthful offender place, we had 30 minutes of PT every morning. And if it was over 30 degrees, over 32 degrees, if it wasn't freezing, your behind was out there, any conditioning. And of course, I was in Florida, so it gets real hot. But if the standard wasn't where it wanted to be, if you weren't loud enough, if the energy wasn't where it needed to be, they will bring certain officers around that'll come and pain you. And one of the guys, probably one of the best influences, Officer Dudley. He was a former Marine. He was short, but he was a giant. Dude will definitely make his presence felt, and he will come around. That's where I got razzle dazzle from. He will come around and give you a little razzle dazzle. And you didn't really want his razzle dazzle because he will punish you. And what made him different from the other people is he could get down there in it and do it with you.
If you were to say you would layer this into some steps,
yeah,
you went in with the
why, winning mindset,
with the why in mind.
Yeah.
I've disappointed some of the most important people in my life. I have a reason why I'm going in here with this mindset that I got to come out and make it up. So you have a why.
Yeah.
When you got inside, what kept you on that path to coming home and prospering?
Structure.
So you had a plan. You went to your PT. Part of it was because of the program that you were in. It was mandatory, but there was a choice. Structure. Yeah. But it was a choice to get into your word, and you began reading, choosing the books that you chose to read about improvement, about growth, about being a better person, developing a mindset. Yeah. So you had a why. Then you also
the why is important because
it's extremely important.
The why is important for a lot of reasons, not just so you can have a target, not just so you can have something to go after, but the why really gives you purpose into your day-to-day.
And with that structure and having that why, creating that purpose, having that structure, you had a built-in accountability officer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you had that, you were placed in a situation where you had to be accountable to something, to someone.
Absolutely.
But to people in the free world who don't have an officer that mandates your routine to a certain degree, having someone in your life or having something in your life to keep you accountable to your progress and to your plan is also a vital factor in this process. Would you not agree?
Absolutely, 110%. Having someone in your life to be accountable to, friend, coach, a program, whatever it may be, that's going to help. But ultimately, what I would love people to understand, especially younger kids, that ultimately you got to be accountable to yourself. Because there was a lot of things, yes, I had Officer Dudley, but so did everybody else. But the difference between, I would say, where I am today, what some other people is what I did with my free time. I just chose to build myself up because I had this vision of success. I knew I had to win. I had nothing but time. And because I had time, I could waste it or I could utilize it.
So you just touched on the next step in the process, is that vision.
Yeah.
But back to what we were saying about accountability for a moment is like a practical practice that I've used, and I just write out my goal for that day. And it was a non-negotiable for that day, just one day. You know what I'm saying? And this, that call the theory of just stacking small wins in the process.
Yeah.
But I had a non-negotiable for that one day, and I write it out. And it literally writing it down and telling yourself that you will not go to sleep until this one thing is done, no matter how small it was.
Yeah.
Keeping myself accountable was by far the most important factor anytime I've ever accomplished anything that I set out to do. Yeah, it sucks to disappoint somebody that you respect or somebody that you love, but when you look in that mirror and you let yourself
down, ooh,
that's
boy.
a different animal.
That is a different animal.
When you said just a second ago about that vision, visualizing. So when you were inside, did you actually like lie in bed, or when you had a moment to yourself, visualize what it would look like when you were back home?
Man, all I did, I'm a dreamer by nature. You know what I mean? Like I have vivid dreams. I daydream. Visualization, I read one quote, is daydreaming with a purpose. I always kept, and this is just natural for me. So, and I think this is very, very important. I've always kept, no matter what I've been through, always kept a positive outlook of myself. I never got down on myself. Yes, I disappointed myself, but I never called myself a loser. And because I felt that way about myself, I was able to navigate and endure the hard times. And I think I was able to dream without limitations. And at that time, I thought that was getting out and playing football again. I really thought that I could potentially one day do that. But I also knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I also knew that I always wanted to, build an empire. I've been saying that since I was 4 years old. So there are certain things that I've had, certain dreams that I had in my life. You follow me? The trouble kind of shifted me into that position. Well, why was me learning important? Because I'm a felon now, man. Ain't nobody gonna hire me. That dream that was passed down to the majority of the kids in our generation, go to school, stay out of trouble, get a good job, that's not gonna happen. That's dead. How can I win from here? I'm probably gonna have to end up, if somebody give me a chance, climbing the corporate ladder, maybe, but I'm probably gonna have to do it on my own. I'm probably gonna have to work for myself. And then that felony, that jacket that was on my back, you follow me? In a sense, it forced me to learn more about business and it forced me to learn more about myself so I can get out and be successful. But this is the part that really kind of helped me. So it's almost like a recap. You follow me?
Right.
Once you understand your why, that's going to give you the driving force you need. That's the battery in your back to help you go through what you got to go through to be successful, right? My go through was prison, but you're going to go through something. Adversity is going to come to you and knock on your door, right? It may not come in the form of trouble in that sense, but adversity is coming to challenge you to see how bad you want, what you say you want. And once you understand that, the next level is working on yourself, all right? Life is going to send you challenges, so you might as well set yourself up for success. A lot of times we set ourselves up for failure because we don't understand how to adapt to go to the next level. We don't understand that we have to edit our behavior, right? I possess greatness. I know I have greatness within me. However, everything about me is not great. I have a lot of limiting beliefs.
100%.
I have a lot of behaviors and actions that if I don't edit them and get them out of the way, I will self-sabotage myself. So once you have that understanding, then you continue to work on yourself. What are the gaps? What are the things about me that are great? Write down your strengths. What are some things about me that are weak? And instead of just focusing on the weaknesses, which a lot of people do, honor your strengths, because that's your foundation. You could build upon that. But don't be so focused on your strength that you become naive to your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Because if you work on those, if you don't strengthen those, then you can self-sabotage. So you need to understand that you need to edit your behavior. Be ready to delete some dysfunction in your life. And a lot of times we'd be like, this is just the way I am. This is who I am. And you become loyal to dysfunction.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's something that's extremely powerful that everybody need to understand. We all have greatness in us, but we also have weaknesses. You use the greatness to build your foundation, to build yourself up, because life is going to happen to you. But don't be so caught up in your own BS till you fail to look at the other parts of you. Because if you don't, you can self-sabotage success. You know, once you find out your strengths, your weaknesses, then you need to figure out like the gaps, all right? You have an idea, you have a plan of what you want to do. Well, what are your gaps? How do you get from this level to the next level? And one of the fastest ways to close those gaps in your life is information. You got to know, you don't know what you don't know, right? So what information you need to make those jumps? What skills do you need to develop? What trade do you need to take? What books do you need to read? Right. What podcasts do you need to listen to? You feel me? What Instagram accounts you need to follow? Don't just entertain yourself. It's very important that you visualize the win. When you have your purpose, when you understand your why, then you can daydream free without limitations. That's like you being an artist with a blank slate. You can be as free, you can be as powerful, you can be as strong, you can be as successful as you want. Just dream and visualize success without limitations. All right? Losers visualize with the penalties of failure. They don't have the freedom to be great because all they see are the pitfalls. Yes, the pitfalls are going to come, whether you see them or not, they are going to come. But reality is, it doesn't even matter because you're going to keep going anyway, right? Because you understand your purpose. You understand why you're here. And regardless of what comes your way, you're not going to quit. So you ain't really got to think about the pitfalls. You learn from it, you adapt, you grow, you get the information you need, and you keep climbing. But the goal is to always visualize success and daydream with a purpose. You've got to begin with the end in mind. You don't always have to have a clear vision, but you got to have an idea of what you want your next level to look like.
And when you say that, I just got a quick little story because I was just reading a book, The Power of Habit, and they told a story about Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
And Michael Phelps' coach before every race would tell him the night before, go put in the videotape. Meaning visualize every single detail of the next day's race. When you get in bed,
internalize,
visualize every. So what a lot of people may not realize is when Michael Phelps broke a world record in the 2008 Olympics,
he saw it.
When he got in the water, he had a leak in his goggles. He swam that race without being able to see. But because he visualized, and he had done this so many times, he had already visualized and kind of already set himself up for any type of setbacks or pitfalls, the things that may not go exactly right. He's already visualized and had a contingency in his own mind. He broke a world record. That's a very, very practical example of visualization and its power.
Yeah.
But with that
from
said,
a world champion.
From a world champion, an all-time great.
All-time great. And if it's good for him, I mean, at least we could do a try. I know it's worked for me.
But that story also leads me to my next point. Planning for a setback. And that, to me, all that says is give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Because every day ain't gonna be perfect.
No.
You're not gonna
not
knock
even
it out.
Close.
You're not gonna knock it out the park every single day. Like we discussed, Hall of Fame baseball players, if you batting about 30%,
300,
you a legend.
You're a legend.
Nobody's batting 1,000 in life, people. So you just got to give yourself some grace, give your fellow man some grace as well. We're going to fail each other. We're going to fail ourselves, but don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Because it's not the end.
Definitely got to give yourself grace. Nobody's batting 1,000. But don't allow those failures to stop you from taking shots, because you will miss 1,000% of the shots you don't take.
100%.
You follow me?
Absolutely.
So you got to keep swinging with the understanding that you're going to miss. And that's okay. But you got to keep trying, because if you don't, you can't win. You take yourself out of the game. At the end of the day, once you realize that, you know your why, you got to be accountable. You're visualizing success. You got to put that routine together. You got to plan your work, you got to work your plan. Because success is found in your daily routine. All right? A lot of people are looking for, this, you play ball. A lot of people are looking for the big plays, right? But you know, the big plays just really come from execution of the basics. Once you line up those basics, that leads to the big plays. And, you know, a lot of people looking for these grand changes, it's not even about that. You know, it's just the small adjustments that you need to make day in and day out. That's success. And being able to enjoy that, that's how you get to the next level. And that's winning on purpose.
Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride, this one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time. This one's for my wife, could've left 1,000 times just so by my side. This one's for the grind, I knew it would happen, just had the strength in my mind.